Hi, I'm Bill Osmond, City Manager in Douglasville. On a couple of occasions in recent months, we presented programs on the upcoming voter referendum to provide funds for a new public safety and municipal court building. We're delighted that referendum was approved on September 16th. And on this edition of On the Agenda, I'll be talking with three men who certainly were very much involved in that project. I hope you will enjoy it. The focus of today's program will be the City of Douglasville's planned new public safety and municipal court building to be paid for through a $23 million general obligation bond issue approved on September 16th. This will enable us to place all of our police operations in one place, which will be far more convenient to both citizens and officers than what we currently have. Before I introduce my first guest, let me give you just a brief recap. First, as most of you know, our current facilities are very inadequate. We're scattered in several buildings in downtown. Over the past 15 years, as we've had a lot of growth in Douglasville, we've simply from time to time bought a retail building or an office building in downtown to expand what we needed for the police department. Second, the mayor and the city council decided to move forward with trying to get a new police building after taking a look at a needs assessment that had been prepared by a company that was employed by the city using funds provided by Chief Whisenant from the drug fund. And what it showed was what our needs in the police department were, which of course were much greater than what we were able to provide through the scatteration of buildings that we had at this time. Third was, as a result of this needs assessment, the mayor and the city council, Chief Whisenant, myself, his command staff, we agreed that we should go forward at this time on looking at a new facility. We went through a process of getting ready to do that. We bought a tract of land south of I-20 on Fairburn Road, about 21 acres, because we could not find adequate space in or near the downtown area. The next step we did, of course, was we prepared a proposal to try to get firms that would be interested in submitting proposals to us. We went through a long review process, detailed questioning of 4 firms, and we ended up early in 2008 selecting the facility group located in Smyrna, and they were to do a design build. The city did reserve for itself the ability to not continue with whatever firm we selected after we got through with the preliminary plans. And so work started, and the facility group did a very good job with the preliminary plans. But during the time that they had staff working on this, the firm itself ran into some very serious legal problems in Mississippi. And a lot of the people who had worked for the facility group left them. We did get the finished product from them about the 1st of July. After that, there was no reason for them to do any work for us until the voters spoke as to whether or not we would have the bond funds approved to build this facility. And of course, the voters did make that decision on September the 16th. The mayor and the city council then went back, analyzed the situation where we were, and then on October the 20th, the city council took an action, and let me read that action to you. They voted to reject all sealed proposals opened on February 15th, 2008 for design build of the city's proposed public safety and municipal court building, and they authorized me, the city manager, to issue a request for qualifications seeking firms to design build this facility. At this time, we're in the process. We've issued that request for qualifications. Our expectation is that we'll go through a number of steps looking at firms that are qualified. We'll ask for proposals from them. Eventually, we will reach the point of being able to select a firm to take the preliminary plans, which we now own, use those for the development of final plans, to be involved in all aspects of the construction, and we expect sometime in March to know the firm that will proceed further with us until we have a finished product. Now, when I come back, I'll be talking with Police Chief Joe Whisenant, and I hope you will stay tuned.
Hi, I'm James Grillo, and my City TV is streaming 24/7.
My first guest today certainly is no stranger on the agenda, no stranger in Douglasville. I'm talking about Police Chief Joe Whisenant. I introduced him a couple of times recently by saying, well, you've been here longer than I, and you're better known here than I am. And so no further introduction is needed today other than, Chief, welcome back to On the Agenda.
Thank you, Bill. It's always fun to be here with you.
Well, the last time you and I were doing a show, we were in the last days before the referendum on September 16th, and we were both worried about what the outcome might be and wondering what else can we do. But early in that program I said, Chief, I said, just tell our audience what you feel at this time. So let me flip it now that the referendum is passed. How do you feel at this time?
Well, you know, first thing I want to do is I want to thank everybody that came out and voted, obviously, and doubly thank the folks that voted in favor of our bond referendum. We really appreciated it. If you'd have put me on camera that night, I think you'd have probably, because I told the press there that you know, give me the keys to the tractor and I'm ready to start moving dirt. And right now, it was such a great thrill, and I appreciate all the people, the citizens supporting the police department in this endeavor, and we truly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Right. And I know finally when the polls closed, tell us about that span of time between when the polls closed and we knew the results.
Well, I was like a cat on a hot tin roof. You saw me down there at the office down there in the voter registration place down there where they were tallying up all the votes, and I stood out there at the police department that afternoon and watched the people keep coming in to vote at the old courthouse, and it was a lot larger turnout than we thought. And you know, I didn't know how to interpret that. Was that good or was that bad? And it just made me nervous. Simply that it's a large turnout, and that couple of hours between the time the polls closed and we finally started getting the tally in, it was pretty nerve-wracking, and I was pacing around pretty good. But you know, when once the first two polls came in, it was pretty evident that we had us a winner, and boy, it was a great relief.
It was.
Great relief.
And I know for that day or two after the election, I'm sure that you got a lot of telephone calls, emails, well wishes, as well as your own staff. Tell us about that time.
Well, we were on a natural high for a couple of days around there, that's for sure. And I got a lot of phone calls, and you know, when I go somewhere, people come up and tell me congratulations. Even folks that live out in the county that knew our needs and knew how badly we needed that building. They were just really happy for us. So, you know, we're ready to move on with the next stage now.
Well, later in this program, I'll be talking with Mayor Thompson and Councilman McLain, who's chairman of your Public Safety Committee. And I know that you appreciate how the elected officials got on board when they saw the results of that need assessment and looked at your facilities maybe in a new light than we had. But I know that if you look at what took place on the council moving forward to make it possible to do this, just give you a chance on the agenda to make a couple of comments in terms of working with the elected officials on bringing all this about.
Well, I do appreciate all the elected officials from the mayor through the council for their support on this. And you know, this has been something we've been talking about for years, Bill. You know that because you've worked with me on this, and it was just great to finally get everybody, you know, on one page and determined to move forward. And I can tell you, and I can tell the viewers out here that I truly appreciate the way the council handled this endeavor, in that they let the police department do the design for the interior of this building. I had no interference whatsoever with anybody. My staff and myself sat down and spent untold hours with the architects from the facility group, and we worked this thing over, and we worked it and we worked it and reworked it, and to where we got it like we want. And never one time in that process did any elected official come in and say, well, Chief, I think this office is too big, or I think you need to do this, or you need to do that. That is greatly appreciated by all of us on our staff, to let us have the input into the design of this building.
Right. Well, you mentioned your staff, and I know that you, your command staff, a lot of your personnel did work a lot, not only with the firm that was preparing the preliminary plans, but also making themselves available to go meet with civic clubs, neighborhood organizations, anybody that would let us come talk with them. We were willing to do that because we did want to get the information out to as many people as possible. And I know as I was preparing for this program, I was thinking of one individual that shouldered a big load there for a number of months in the preparations, and of course then left city employment a few weeks before we had this referendum. I'm talking about the former Deputy Police Chief Oliver Fladrick. And Oliver, if you happen to watch this, know that you did play a very important role in what took place on the passage of this referendum. But Chief, you got any comments you want to make on the contribution that this former staff member of ours made?
Sure I do. You know, Oliver was an integral part of my command team for years.
Right.
Deputy Chief, he a go-to guy for me, rose up through the ranks, did a great job, very well liked, very well respected in our community, team player, and he took this endeavor on like he did everything. He just went full blast at it. He was great. He worked hard. He was a point man for me sometimes with the firm that was doing these things. If I wasn't in, he was the one that they contacted. I never had to worry about anything falling through the cracks. He's on top of everything. And you know, to you, Oliver, also, you know, I appreciate it very much, as does all the command staff, and we miss you too, buddy.
Right. You know, you said that you were ready to get on a tractor the night of the 16th, and we're not quite ready for you to get on that tractor, but I know that as we look ahead, and I'll be talking later in this program with the mayor and Councilman McLain kind of on the timeline to move us through the pre-construction stage, but in just comment on one thing I'm going to mention, and then whatever closing comments you have, but as you and I have done these programs before and looking at the needs, I know you've talked about the inadequacy of the current buildings you're in, but in particular as it relates to safety aspect, both for your employees and for the public, as well as the convenience to the public from our current conditions to what it will be like in the new facility.
You're right, Bill, and that was part of what we drove home to the groups that we go talk with, and then of course when people came to the open house, it was evident that we have no safety features in any of our buildings.
Right.
They were never designed to be police stations or police department buildings. So with this new building, of course, that is a part of what we're going to do, and also it's not only just for us, but the public, when they come in to one of our buildings, they too are in potential danger should something go wrong. But just the total inconvenience of sometimes having to go 2 and 3 different buildings just to perform one simple task at the police department, and being spread out, you know, if it's inclement weather and we're having to say, well, you're here, but now you got to go down 2 blocks down and do business in that building, and then when you get through there, you got to go to another building. So it's going to be a one-stop shop for the citizens, and they're going to be able to come into a nice, clean, safe environment, conduct their business, and then get on out of there. And I think they're going to be very appreciative for that too.
Right. Well, that's great. Well, I knew the chief would have a big smile on his face today, and all the worries from that last time we were here a few days before the vote, and appreciate you taking time to come by today, and congratulations on the building that will be coming eventually. And when we come back, I'll be talking with Mayor Thompson and Councilman McLain.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Shan Weeks with Keep Douglasville Beautiful, and my city TV is good for the environment.
Well, it's great to have 2 special guests on today's edition of On the Agenda. One of my guests, of course, is Mayor Mickey Thompson, and of course the mayor and I have had back-to-back programs on City TV for more than a year with his Ask the Mayor program and my On the Agenda program. But this is your first time to be on the agenda, so welcome today.
Well, actually, it's my pleasure to join you on your program today and to join my colleague, Councilman Dennis McLain, today to talk about a very important issue.
Right. And of course, that is my other special guest, Councilman McLain, who is Ward 2 council member. Serves on a number of city council committees, but is the chairman of two very important committees, the Public Safety Committee and the Planning and Zoning Committee. And of course, he's with us today because he's chairman of the Public Safety Committee. Welcome, Councilman McLain.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Osborne. It's good to be here.
Well, it's good to have both of you. Mr. Mayor, let's start with you. Give our viewers just your thoughts when you realized that actually we had passed this referendum to provide funds for a new public safety building.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank the voters of Douglasville, the citizens of Douglasville, for their commitment to public safety. And this truly is a commitment of a substantial amount of money by the voters to build this new public safety facility. But I did stay up very late until the votes were finally in, but it was a relief, I can tell you, to know that there was going to be funding available for this building.
Right. And you know, this will be, if not the biggest project in the history of Douglasville, certainly the biggest project that we have had from a dollar standpoint in years and years. What's the significance of our moving forward with this project?
Well, you're exactly right. It is one of the major projects and probably one of the largest projects from a dollar standpoint that we've undertaken. Although we've had some other projects that have been in the several $million.
Right.
Bright Star Road Connector that we're getting ready to start. The building that we built for the state agencies that are here was several $1 million, close to $10 million. And the Hunter Park renovations we're getting ready to do, that's also going to be close to $10 million. So there are some other projects that are, in my opinion, very large, but nothing like this. And this is a significant project for the city of Douglasville, right, because we have been talking about this. Actually, when I became a member of the city council in 1996, this was an area that was being talked about. And for a number of reasons, we could really never get it off of the ground. But finally, it did happen, and it is a major project that the entire city council, and it's obvious a majority of the citizens in Douglasville certainly support.
Right. Councilman McLain, what do you think this project is going to mean to the police department and to our general population?
Well, Mr. Osborne, I really think that if you just look at the whole thing, public safety is very important. I mean, that's the role of government, really. Right. It's to protect the citizens, protect their property, and make sure that they're safe in their homes, safe on the streets. And obviously, it's as we go through the budget process every year, it's a big number when you come to public safety. And I hope the citizens understand that, because that's the thing that we need to do and always be cognizant of, that we're going to take care of the citizens first.
Right.
And it's, I think there's no other way about it. We just have to do this, and it's going to be the biggest thing probably in a single item that we've ever done, but right, it's going to be done now.
Right. Well, I know you have a lot of contact, of course, with the police department, being chairman of the Public Safety Committee, and both with the command staff and with some of the officers. What was their reaction when they realized that after all these years, there actually was a time that they were going to be able to move into a new building?
You know, the officers were just absolutely elated.
Right.
I mean, you can ask any one of them. Right. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them who've been here a long time thought they'd never see that day come.
Right.
And like they say, they talked it to death a few times, but we finally got it resurrected. Right. And now it's going to be reality.
Very good. Well, Mr. Mayor, one of the things, of course, during your administrations have been looking at how to make the city more attractive, how to raise the bar, in a sense, on the quality of our new construction projects, regardless of what type of projects those are. How will this new public safety municipal court building measure up to what standards that you have been pushing?
Well, you're exactly right, Bill. The city council has actually raised the bar. for all development in the city of Douglasville, not only commercial but residential, virtually eliminating the ability to build starter homes and requiring various exterior finishes that truly have improved the visual image of the city of Douglasville. And it's my belief, and I think it's the council's belief also, that when the city government builds buildings, that we should also adhere to those same standards. Mm-hmm. Not only adhere to them, but maybe a little bit more. And I think that's what we're doing in this building. I know when we met with the company that was doing the initial design on this building, that was one of the first things that I asked them to do, was to look at the exterior. And actually not being concerned about the interior, because the chief and his command staff were the ones that basically were looking at their needs on the inside. But what I thought was important was the exterior, because this truly will be, I believe, a landmark building in the city of Douglasville. And so I did believe, and continue to believe, as I said, that we need to do as good and maybe a little bit better. And so I think what we've ended up with is a building that everyone can certainly be proud of.
Right, very good. Councilman McLain, I know the City Council has adopted a resolution to do a timeline for this project. We have issued a request for qualifications. From your standpoint, the ad hoc committee, tell us who's going to be on who is on the ad hoc committee and kind of what it's going to be doing.
Well, Mr. Osborne, the ad hoc committee will have at least 3 members of the City Council. Of course, the mayor would be on that. The police chief and 2 of the senior officers on the police force would also be involved in that, along with the city manager and the assistant chief city attorney.
Right.
So it gives you a good cross-section, people who are very interested in seeing this get done. And of utmost importance, of course, is going to be the fact that a company who can do the job and will do the job that we can work with and move on with it and get it done and see it done to its completion.
And this timetable we're looking for has a number of steps in it to reach the goal that you're talking about, which we expect to be probably in mid-March. But looking ahead to the time that we not only complete the pre-construction stage, but actually get this new facility built. Look ahead and just what's your goal in all of this with the new building and having that for the police department and municipal court?
Well, I think the first goal is to get it done. You got to get it done, but the next thing is we got to get it done right, because as you said, the police department, that's going to be their home. Mm-hmm. And if you're building a home, you want it like you want it. Right. And you don't want something that somebody comes up with a pie in the sky idea to put something in there that you don't want. We just want something that everyone, the police department, the city officials, and everyone, and especially the citizens, can be proud of.
Right. And
get it done on time, on budget, and ready for them to occupy this place.
Right. And that finished product that you're talking about, we expect the site to be nicely landscaped. The mayor's already mentioned the building's exterior. We believe we'll be proud of it, that it will raise the bar in a sense. We'll have all of our divisions, of course, in the police department in this facility, though we will continue a downtown precinct here in the downtown area. And of course, in addition to the main building, there are 3 or 4 other buildings on the property for our K-9 unit and some other things, as well as adequate parking for the not only our personnel in the department, but for citizens who will be coming for business purposes. And we believe that the design, of course, is aimed not only for safety for the public, but also for our officers, so that they have a good work environment. About 70,000 square feet total, and that includes about 7,000 feet square feet on an unfinished basement. But I think we're all looking forward to this in the coming months. I'm sure both on the agenda and the Ask the Mayor programs and the police report, we'll be talking more about this. But, you know, Mr. Mayor, the voters have authorized the issuance of $23 million in general obligation bonds to finance this. But, of course, we're not rushing out at the moment to try to sell these bonds. Give us a little status report on this.
Well, Mr. Osborne, I can tell you that this is probably the very worst time, at least in a number of years, that any government could be going to the bond market.
Right.
We all know, and I don't know when this will air, but I'm sure the economic environment's basically going to be similar to the way it is today, and we all know the situation that we're in with respect to stocks and bonds and various things. So it's going to be very difficult for the city, if not virtually impossible, at this point in time to sell bonds. Now, one of the things that I believe that we can work on that might be more attractive to purchasers, of course, tax-exempt bonds are always more attractive than just a regular municipal bond. Mm-hmm. And there are some restrictions, of course, on the maximum dollar amount that a municipal government or any government can issue with respect to tax-exempt bonds. And of course, as we know, this building's going to take quite a while to build. Right. And we do another issue next year because you're paying for this as it's being constructed. More than likely, we're not going to need the final part of this money until 2010, so we could do the final issue the early part of 2010. So timing from that standpoint, we're in a good situation because we're near the end of the year. We're going to go through a full year of construction, and we're going to end up the beginning of the following year. So I think that's possibly an opportunity that we can certainly pursue, but it's a difficult situation that we have. Right. And I hope there's some opportunity. Otherwise, we are going to have to wait until the market resurrects and itself and comes back to some degree of certainty and confidence that people will actually buy these bonds. Right.
Well, the good part is we're looking at when do we go to the bond market rather than can we get the authority to go to the bond market. As we close, Councilman McLain, any final comments you'd like to make?
No, I just want to thank you for having me here today. And
Glad to have you.
You know my feelings about our public safety, and especially the ladies and gentlemen of the police department. Right. And I definitely want to support them. Right. And I hope every citizen, every voter out there feels the same way.
Right. Mr. Mayor?
Well, Bill, it's certainly been my pleasure to join you for the first time on your on the agenda program, and also to be with my colleague, Councilman McLain, who is doing an excellent job as chairman of the Public Safety Committee that we're basically operating under to build this new building. But finally, again, I'd like to finish the way I started by thanking the citizens of the city of Douglasville for supporting, and it really was a show of support for our public safety department. Right. One of the things that's more important or as important as anything else we do in city government is provide public safety. And finally, we're going to be able to do that with a facility that will afford the ladies and gentlemen and the officers who work in that department the resources that they need, and thanks to the citizens of Douglasville, they're going to have that.
Right. Well, it's been great to have both of you with me today on the agenda, and to our viewers, especially all three of us, are grateful that you joined us. In the months ahead, we'll try to keep you informed of the progress as we go through the process in the pre-construction stage and then the actual construction of what will be, I believe, a landmark building in the city of Douglasville. That's the city's new public safety and municipal court building. Thank you for being with me today. I look forward to seeing you next time on the agenda.